Good morning, Marvin Sylvester here today on the 26th of February 2023. I hope all is well with you, all is well with me. And where am I today? Today I am at the Mosquito Creek. It's a stretch of road here in South Trinidad, and depending on where you are right now, I'm at either the entrance to the Mosquito Creek, where if you're heading south to places like Otahiti, Oropuch, Labre, Point Fortin, etc., I am at the beginning of the Mosquito Creek. And if you're headed to San Fernando and etc., North Trinidad, I am at the end of the Mosquito Creek. As you can see, the weather is very bright and sunny. Really good weather this morning. You're near the sea, you're hearing the waves crashing, all these nice things. It's just a beautiful day here in Trinidad and Tobago. So last couple weekends I was engaged, but I'm back this weekend. I'm back this weekend here to give you my analysis on the things that stood out to me in the recent week. And this particular video, I want to focus on one particular topic, one particular observation that I made, and it's something that is really important to me. I think it's relevant to everybody here in Trinidad and Tobago, and I think everyone, including the average man, should be paying attention to this, and basically should want to keep informed of what I'm going to talk about, so that they will be in the know, and most importantly they'll be able to be guided accordingly, for better word, right? So what am I going to discuss today? It really stemmed from an article that I would have seen in the Trinidad and Tobago Express dated the 18th of February 2023. The title of the article states, "Imbert faces lower natural gas prices." It's an article by Curtis Williams. Let's go into this article. It states, Finance Minister Carl Imbert will be closely monitoring the softening of natural gas prices at the US Henry Hub, which has fallen considerably and is now projected to average almost half what he projected in the 2022-2023 budget. According to the U.S. Energy Information Agency, USEIA, Imbert has admitted he uses to determine his energy projections. It is now assuming the Henry Hub natural gas prices will average US $3.40 per million British thermal units, or you might hear me say to MMBTU, metric million British thermal units, right, in 2023, down almost 50% from last year, and about 30% less than the US EIA's own January short-term energy outlook forecast, right? And the article also states, Imbert pegged his budget on a natural gas price of $6.50 per MMBTU. So based on what Mr. Imbert would have projected to use the budget, is $6.50 per MMBTU natural gas, this US agency is saying their outlook is for $3.40 per MMBTU. So almost $3 less, almost half the amount of money that Mr. Imbert would have used for the budget projection. Keep that in mind, right? So why has this happened? So the article goes on to state that, there's been a more milder than expected winter in the US, and on a side note, this is also true in Europe, and this has created less demand in these countries. So What does that mean? Just as with all other economic principles, less demand creates less, excess product within the market, and with that excess product, it drives the price down. So the price has been going down so far in 2023 after a very strong year in 2022. So one of the first things I did was, I remember that it had a couple articles where I saw this being mentioned even before this was mentioned in the Express. So I just wanted to touch on them. I wanted to touch on one which was before the Express article and one which came out after the Express article, right? So just to see what other people are saying about these LNG prices, if it's something that is just from one source or if it's from multiple sources, right? So I remember seeing an oil price article dated the 13th of February 2023. The subject of that article was low natural gas prices could cause a supply crunch by Irina Slav. That article would have stated earlier this month, the benchmark price for US natural gas fell below $3 per MMBTU for the first time in almost 2 years. Forecasts are that it will remain below $3 at least until the middle of the year. And I agree with that assessment for several reasons. And a little later on down, I will go into why it is I agree with that assessment. I'll pull it all together. So then I also did some other little, looking here and there, and so many other articles, and this one stood out to me. This was a Reuters article dated the 22nd of February 2022, so after the Express article. And the article, this is a Reuters article, and it states, the subject of the article is US gas prices near record low amid overproduction. Remember that. It's an article by John Kemp, and it states the US gas prices have slumped close to their lowest level on record. Right? Frontman futures for gas delivered at the Henry Hub in Louisiana have fallen to just $2 per million British thermal units, down from more than $9 at the end of August 2022. So the articles before the Express is saying $3.40, if I remember correctly. The oil price article was saying below $3, and this one is saying $2. So you see the drop, right? And the article also states, in real terms, prices are the lowest on record, except for a short period between, I think it was like February and June 2020, when the pandemic had just hit, right? So that is just some reference points and some gas prices based on previous articles. And then at the time of making this video, I just checked it before I started making this video. At this point in time, the Henry Hub website was showing that natural gas was trading at approximately $2.50 per MMBTU, which is $4 less than what Minister Imbert had projected. So we see a very, very big drop to where we are now, right? Prices are over 50%, some would say less than what they were trading at last year. So again, first of all, let me state, I am not a subject matter expert on this. I am not a trader or a professional analyst or anything like that, and I don't purport or pretend to be. But I'm just an average man on the street, an average man like everybody else, and I am looking at these developments, and I just have some thoughts and some ideas on it, and I welcome anybody to enlighten me on this so that I know better and the public can know better, right? So this is just some simple thoughts on my mind, and not purporting to, be a guru or anything, just putting that out there. So, as you know, the Atlantic LNG, which is the main producer in West of LNG, Latin America, some would say, they produce, their maximum production is approximately 4.2 billion cubic feet per day. I would have shared in previous articles that production has dropped to approximately 2.9 billion cubic feet per day. So what does all this previous news mean to me? Well, as far as I know, when gas producers see the price dropping, one of the things they do is to, and they see demand is low, one of the things they do is they start to reduce production, because obviously you don't want to be overproducing, one, because there's excess gas in the market. Remember, I just shared in the article, there's currently overproduction, so you don't want to be putting out a set of excess gas, and two, you don't want to be selling a whole lot of gas to when the price low, so you kind of slow up production, because obviously production has a cost as well, right? And they want to make the best prices from your production. But what does this mean in my simple mind? Potentially it means that, one, the government, who is also a shareholder of NGC, of Atlantic, which is NGC, government who is also a shareholder at Atlantic, will be making less money in two ways. One, they'll be making less money based on the fact that the price of natural gas itself is much lower than expected, and two, they'll be making less money based on the fact that with lower production there might be also lower cargoes going out, because remember, there's low demand and excess gas in the market. So less cargoes and less money per cargo. That is just what my simple mind tells me about the situation that we're in right now, based on the articles that I've read. So if this is true, I could be wrong, but if this is true, for me it comes down to this. It comes down to, I just wondering, me personally, if Mr. Imbert, the finance minister, was a bit overly optimistic when it comes to the price of natural gas. Not that I'm being harshly critical or anything, but I'm wondering, because he made a projection, and based on his projection it dropped from $6 and something to now trading at $2 and something. And yes, they would have mentioned the US EIA, the organization that he looks at, but I was just kind of wondering exactly what exact projection did he look at to come to the conclusion of using the $6.50 per MMBTU. I'm just interested, because I pay attention to these things. I pay attention to world news and whatnot, and my simple mind, non-expert, non-professional opinion is that I honestly thought the price was always going to fall. And I could explain why it is I think it going to fall, because in the first instance, what my simple mind tells me is that with the conflict in Ukraine, which started last year, that would have pushed up the prices to the highs that it would have reached, the LNG prices to average over $5 per MMBTU in 2022, which was actually a 10-year high average according to Reuters, which I saw in another oil price article. but it was really pushed up by the conflict, right? And then based on that conflict, it was bound to drop for these few reasons, right? So firstly, in Europe, they bought a lot of gas, especially from Russia, in anticipation of winter and before applying sanctions on Russia, because they were planning to put sanctions on Russian oil and gas. So before they put the sanctions and restrict themselves from purchasing Russian oil and gas, they started to buy a whole lot of gas, especially in anticipation of winter, which some people would have expected to be harsh, as well as the sanctions, because they would no longer be purchasing Russian gas and they would have to be getting gas from other sources which probably were not confirmed at the time, right? So basically they were pulling up their research. There was this surge in purchasing LNG, mainly by Europe, and that surge, that probably much more bigger than normal surge to fill up their underground reserves and whatnot, as I would have heard, would have caused the price to rise. But as it would have started to pass the peak, you know, of winter, to me that surge would have eventually stopped. And once that surge stops, which it will have had to at some point, the demand will drop and the price will drop. And I would assume that would naturally happen the closer that Europe gets to spring. So for me, after maintaining that 10-year high at $5, I knew it was bound to drop at some point, right? That is one. Two, the article earlier would have been mentioning that the milder winter would have been leading to lower demand, lower prices. But what does that specifically mean? So that is something that specifically relates to a terminology called heating degree days, right? Heating degree days. And they have organizations like Statista and Eurostat which track these things. Statista will track US, Eurostat will track Europe. Heating degree days. Now what are heating degree days? A heating degree day is a measurement designed to quantify the demand for energy needed to heat a building, right? So it's basically a measure primarily used during winter to calculate the energy needs on any given day, right? How much energy you would need to heat a building so that people could live comfortably. And just pointing out some stats here that I would have picked up online. Statista would have showed that the US heating degree days would have constantly been dropping since 1979, and it would have dropped from 4,493 heating degree days in 1979 to currently 3,936 in 2021. And you could see that that trend is constantly going down, because as we know, just as in 2022 winter coming into 2023, everybody is saying that the winter is more mild. You also have in Europe, it appears to be even more significant, right? I'm just going to read something that I got from off Eurostat. Heating degree day values decreased by 11% between 1979 2021, and in the EU, indicating that compared with 1979, only 89% of the heating needs were observed in 2021. So correction, in the Statista it was from 2000 to 2021. That was from 2000. So just to correct that. In Eurostat is from 1979. right? The arithmetic average across 42 years of data is 3,207 heating days. So that is where the US was at 39, 36. Europe, which is usually colder than the States, is at 3,207. And the trend shows that heating degree days are decreasing across time. After 1999, with the exception of 4 years, 2010, 2004, 2003, and 2001, heating degree days were lower than average. So what put it all together? One, as I said, because of the war, you would have expected the conflict and the impending sanctions and winter. There was a surge to fill up the reserves in Europe. So that surge caused a spike in prices, fill up their reserves, and to ensure that their citizenry have gas. Then you also had the fact that in both the US and Europe, the amount of heating degree days over the years from in these countries have been constantly reducing. The winters have been continually becoming more and more mild. So when you put all of that together, naturally, if you had a 10-year high in 2022 averaging $5, you know it's going to drop, because it was averaging around $5.50 or something so throughout 2022, but you know it's going to drop. So if I, in my layman's simpleton layman's mind, had to do a calculation for the budget, I'm not going to increase on that 5-year, that 10-year high of $5, whatever. I would drop it. I would drop it because I know it had to come down. One, because the surge in purchase would stop at some point, especially as in the first half of the year when they're going to spring and all the way up to summer. And two, the winters themselves, according to the data by people who track the heating degree days in these countries, is showing that the winters is getting more mild, and demand for energy during the winters is getting less, and less demand equals lower prices. So if it were me, I would have dropped from the 5-year high of $5 something to approximately $3.50 or something. So like me, this is what I was thinking, which would be in line with what the Express article was saying that the US agency's outlook is. Now again, I would have been wrong, because right now we're trading at $2.50 per MMBTU, but I would have been $1 off. Using Mr. Imbert's projection for the budget, $4 off at this time. I'm not too sure how long that price is going to continue at that level. Now, I mean, obviously I'm concerned, so I was trying to find, any other statements ministers were making on this, and I came across another a Newsday article where the minister, Young, the energy minister, was making certain statements, right? So the name of the article, it was a Newsday article, I believe dated the 24th of February 2023, a couple days ago. And an article states, it says, Young, we'll succeed in negotiating the Dragon deal. It was an article by a gentleman named Sean Douglas. And this article mainly talks about the Dragon gas deal, and someone's interviewing Mr. Young, and he's given a lot of feedback on the Dragon deal, right? As you all know, in many of my previous videos, we beat Dragon dead. I mean, we might have to come back to it again in the future, but we know a lot about the Dragon, right? But what jumped out to me in this article was when they are saying Mr. Young said something to this effect. The article states, otherwise, he was unfazed by current low prices for natural gas at Henry Hub, Louisiana, saying TNT sells its gas at a basket of prices of European and Asian prices. Okay, so you put that statement out there, but I will then ask, what are these prices? What are the prices in these European, outside of Louisiana, what are these prices in European markets and Asian markets? Are they higher than the Henry Hub? I was just wondering. I'm trying to find out, but I could. And then, if whatever these prices are, and especially if they are higher, would they be enough to meet any shortfalls in revenue from what we would normally trade with the US at the Henry Hub? Or what we would, probably cargoes we would sell spot market, whatever they do it with the Henry Hub prices. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm hoping somebody could enlighten me, because I want to know. I'm just interested in these things. I'm interested in my country. Not to say that I'm a decision maker or anything, obviously I'm not, but you know, I want to know. So, with all of that in mind, the potential for lower prices, well, current lower prices, less cargoes. Some articles are saying for the first 6 months of the year, the middle of the year, and all these different things. I still do believe there's some silver lining based on the things that I've read. Right? So, for example, first one is, as the temperate countries warm up, they will need more energy for air conditioning and cooling during the warmer months of the year. So that is where they would now refer to cooling days, right? Cooling degree days, the amount of energy needed to cool a building during the warmer months of the year. And the same Eurostat, they would have been indicating something to the effect that since 1979, right, the amount of cooling days, cooling degree days, the amount of energy needed to keep buildings cool in Europe has almost tripled, right, between 1979 to 2021. But keep in mind, this is just for a couple months for the year, right? That is, but it's still a silver lining. So we could expect a surge during the summer months. Then also, there's also an expected surge in LNG gas purchases between August to probably November, somewhere there, as the European countries will end up in the same position where they would be needing to refill their LNG reserves in anticipation of winter 2023 into 2024, right? But again, how high the prices will rise remains to be seen, right? So again, there's another element of projection that we need to come in. What sort of prices do we expect to see, and then to peg the national revenues based on that. Again, just simple mind thinking. Then also, China is coming out of their COVID restrictions, and they're starting to open back up their country. And as they open up, everybody knows how massive the Chinese economy is. As they open up, it will have a global effect. That global effect will inevitably cause prices to go up. But again, based on the demand, it will cause prices to go up, arguably. However, by how much, that remains to be seen, right? That remains to be seen. And I mean, the Express article also outlines that you know, there's also the potential for extreme weather events and whatnot that may happen in different parts of the world that could cause the price of LNG to go up, but that is very unlikely. But again, it's also a possibility, but I wouldn't bank on something like that. So all in all, you know, I've said all this before to say this at the end, where I mean, this is just my personal opinions here, my personal views, my personal analysis as a simple mind. And it's not to promote any doom or gloom or panic or anything like that, but it's basically to encourage the average person to take a look at these things, to be aware of what's going on globally, and to put things in place for themselves and their families for potentially tough times ahead. Because if the prices continue to stay low, LNG prices continue to remain as volatile as they are, it will have an impact on our economy. It will have an impact on the daily life of us as citizens. And basically it comes down to this. If the government is making less money, right? If the government is making less money, less revenue, unless they borrow more money to meet whatever budget commitments they have, they will have less money to spend. Normal principles, the less you have, less money you have, is the less you could spend. And then you have to ask yourself, how will this impact basic social nets and social needs that the government helps to keep our current cost of living and standard of living at a particular level? How will this start to impact things like subsidies? You know, we just being real, we just talking. How will this start to impact things like that? How will this start to impact electricity rates and fuel subsidies and all these other different things that we currently have? So my simple mind tells me that all these things connected, tells me that there's these cause and effect factors are happening globally, they're impacting us locally, and as an average man you need to pay attention to it. Right? You need to pay attention to it. You need to be conscious of it. And in closing, you know, I just wanted to say that I truly believe that the energy minister, the finance minister, even the prime minister, these government officials are probably looking into this. They are probably monitoring it very closely. And I want to believe that they will do everything in their power to mitigate whatever negative effects that will come out of these much lower than expected gas prices. Right? I don't think anybody would have expected to drop this much this quick. I would have expected a drop, but not this much this fast. But I'm pretty sure they're looking at it. I'm pretty sure that they are looking to find solutions to keep the country running. But I also believe that as private citizens, as average people, you and I, we also have a right to mitigate and to hedge ourselves against the negative global effects. Now, how does that look? I dare not come here on a social media platform to advise people on financial planning and all these kind of... No way. That is not my thing. I have people for that. I dare not do that. But what I would say is that as citizens, we need to pay attention to what's going on, and more importantly, we need to, as I started saying, to be informed so that we could be guided accordingly in our daily actions. However that looks, whatever whatever form that takes for you and your family and your loved ones and your dependents, do it. But keep in mind, based on what the data is showing, the information that we have available is showing, this year could potentially be a tough year. And people should keep that in mind and be prepared. That leads me to kind of, I wasn't planning on mentioning it. I don't think it's connected to what it is I've said directly. It's definitely not connected. There's no dots connecting it. But it's just to kind of draw a reference. I went to the grocery yesterday, and you know, while I was there, I observed, you know, there was a person at the cashier buying groceries, right? And while the person was there, it's like they try to use the card to pay for the groceries, right? And then trying to use the card to pay for the groceries, apparently it didn't go through, right? And like they tried it again and it didn't go through, and you know, I was just looking at the person's expression on the face, and the person was looking, to me, could be wrong, was looking very distressed. And then like the person then dipped down into the bag, to take out money, and like the hands was trembling, like, you know, they're trying to take out this money, and it's like, this is my last. And we paid for the groceries, the porter person packed it up, and the person just took this long, slow walk out. I saw all of this, and I'm not trying to sensationalize anything. This is what I observed, and I can tell you how I felt. My heart dropped. Now, again, that situation is not specifically connected to what it is I just discussed, but what I could say, or where it could be connected, is if things this tough for people in the country now as it is, imagine if it were to get more tough because the state is making even less money and is able to do less things. I think the average man really needs to start to get himself in a gear. Everyone need to start to get himself in a gear. So that brings me to the end of today's news. Well, I shouldn't say news, but my analysis based on what's going on right now. All the articles that I would have spoken about, I will put them in the description, the links to them in the description. If you liked this video, like what you saw, please like and share. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't hit the notification bell, please hit the notification bell, so when I put out more videos, you'll be able to know and you'll be able to see it more instantly. This will help the channel to grow. This will help us to get to where I know we could be. And also, if you want to take things a little further, by all means, there will be a link to my Buy Me a Coffee, where you could provide further support so that we could help this channel to grow and to become what it is we know it can be. Again, so whenever you see this video, thank you again for watching all the way to the end, and I hope you have a great day, a great week ahead, and stay safe, and like I say, pay attention to what's going on. Alright, that's it for me. Bye bye.